everybody, what's up? We are back with another stock analysis, and today we have a special segment to be starting off with. So we're looking at ACHR Aviation today, and we're going to have a logo review for the company from a real graphic designer.
Sucks.
And the rating for ACHR Aviation's logo is it sucks. And honestly, if we look at it here, I kind of agree. So anyway, back to the normal video. So getting into ACHR Aviation today, they do development of vertical takeoff aircraft, electric vertical takeoff aircraft, which is kind of shocking. I didn't even know things like that were being developed. But anyway, 400 million, completely missing the mark here, 3.7 billion market cap for the company. They have a target price of $11 and a slightly negative long-term growth rate, which again, sometimes when these numbers are negative with companies like this, it's a little bit, wow, what did I just do there? Anyway, it's a little bit unreliable, I would say. But either way, moving on, let's get into the actual growth summary. And wow, okay, so not great, mostly negative other than the longer term estimates. No real long-term estimates though, and nothing for sales at all, which is not great. Let's keep moving through here. So we're going to start off with the earnings today, and just see where they're at recently. So first off, we will do two report and announces and reports, and we do not have the actual report here from what I could see. We do have that. We do not have Blackline report. Let's see what this is. I almost never click on these, but maybe this goes over the 10K, and yeah, this is going to be a little bit too much, I would think, and it is. So it looks like we don't have anything that we normally have for these, which kind of sucks. Announces. Oh, here we go. Okay. So fiscal year 2024 results. They have a new commercialization program they launched. Early adopter markets in advance of type certification of the aircraft. Strong demand in the defense market and beyond for their hybrid aircraft that they are developing under partnership with Anduril Industries, which actually I have heard about before. And if they are a public company, I'll definitely look into reviewing them as well fairly soon. First Midnight aircraft is being started with production with plans to build up to 10 this year, which is interesting because that seems like a very low number. One of the strongest balance sheets in their industry with over $1 billion in liquid cash, which is fairly good. That definitely gives them a fairly long development runway, which we don't really see too often with a lot of companies. We'll have to see how their costs look later, though, to really solidify that. So some highlights here for the fourth quarter. I'm not going to go through everything. Production's starting at one of their facilities in Georgia, which is usually pretty positive. First quarter financial estimates. So EBITDA will be a loss of around 95 to 110 million. Let's actually pull up their most recent income report and see kind of what the comparison is there. So let me just make sure. EBITDA will be negative 95 to 110, and the last one we saw was negative 120. So a little bit of an improvement there, but overall, with the state that the company's in, I would say that's kind of just nothing really major at all. Other than that, there's really not too much more information here. So most of the report here that we're seeing is just new developments that the company is making, which is good. But either way, there's nothing too much in terms of outstanding financial news that we're really seeing here, other than the fact that they do have a lot of cash. So saying that, let's switch over to their chart and see how this is looking. So the report did get a fairly positive response, despite the fact that if we look here, they have absolutely zero revenue, which is crazy. Bounced a lot the day after, though, up 12%, which we don't really see very often. It did open much lower than the day they reported, though. If we zoom out a little bit here, they have seen a lot of support recently, and the stock is clearly in an uptrend, which is good. But will we really see much more off of this? I'm going to say that it's almost entirely catalyst based. There is one more new indicator that I just added here that I haven't really gone over yet in any of my videos, and this is their total workforce, which I think is probably a fairly good indicator of how the company is going to perform. So, for example, over the past 4 years, we've seen the company massively increase their workforce, up almost 7,000% in 2021. And since then, they've seen very high double-digit plus growth in their workforce. In 2024, they added basically 2/3 to their company in terms of just workforce. So I think that's a very positive sign for them going into the future, which for a lot of companies, we can't really say that with saying that they are adding this much to their own physical place in their like kind of industry. So that is something very positive that I like to look at. I think it's a very good indicator and just something new I found that I wanted to add in today. So saying that, let's move into the financials now and kind of go over everything. So I am going to do fiscal years because they should have the data here, and they do. So starting off, gross income was massively negative. Tons of expenses, not really seeing any kind of improvements here whatsoever. However, we are seeing the actual tangible developments being made based on that report that we read. So that is something. However, I feel like they are a long way off from actually getting any meaningful amounts of income, which is just something to consider. They are very aggressively diluting the stock as well, which makes sense considering they need to get their money somewhere. And I'm sure we'll see their debt situation as well moving into the balance sheet here. So hopefully it's not too bad. And honestly, it isn't. They have very little debt, a ton of cash currently as well. They said in their most recent report that they have over $1 billion in liquidity. And to be fair, a lot of that is cash, but also 130 million of that is their property, plant, and equipment. So really, they don't have that $1 billion. That's a little misleading. They really have 840 million, which isn't too much of a difference, but still. Um, Either way, debt situation is nothing too crazy. So let's move on to the cash flows. I'm expecting it to be, very aggressively negative. We're not really going to get too much out of this. A ton of debt being issued over the past 2 years. Other than that, nothing else too surprising. Again, a ton of stock being issued as well. This is how they're cash flowing themselves, which is to be expected. But overall, I would say we are not looking at any kind of significant income or profitability for probably a couple years. If they can cash flow themselves that long, it could be a really solid thing to look into. But either way, I would say this is still a stay away scenario or situation where there's just not enough here to really say that it could be solid. So saying that, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and I will see everybody in the next video.